Good morning. Today we are going to discuss Cossijurah case. This case illustrates another defect in the Regulating Act. In the Cossijurah case, the confrontation between Supreme Court and the Council became evident to the highest degree. It exhibited the controversy between the Supreme Court and the Supreme Government. As the Regulating Act did not demarcate the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court or the position of the Governor General in Council. The Cossijurah case refers to two important questions for consideration. Number one, whether the zamindars were subject to jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and second, who was competent authority to decide this case. So let's discuss the fact of the case in brief as follows. Kashinath Babu, he was a native of Calcutta, was a money lender. The zamindar of Cossijurah, that is Raja of Cossijurah, had taken huge loan from moneylender. Kashinath Babu gave a loan to Raja of Cossijurah. Cossijurah Raja, that is Zamindar, was heavily indebted to Kashinath Babu. The amount was large and the Raja or the Zamindar could not repay for a long time. Consequently, Kashinath Babu brought a suit Kashinath Babu brought a suit against the Raja or against the Zamindar of Cossijurah for the recovery or repayment of the loan. He approached the Governor General in Council. However, Kashinath Babu's efforts were in vain. Then he approached the Sadar Diwani Adalat but could not get justice because of the influence of the Zamindar. So, being aggrieved by this, finally he had instituted suit against the Zamindar in the Supreme Court at Calcutta. In his affidavit, he stated that the Raja, that is Zamindar, was in the service of the company, having been employed in the collection of revenues, and therefore the Raja, that is Zamindar or the Raja of Cossijurah, was subject to the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Upon this affidavit, the Supreme Court issued a writ, that is writ of capias of arrest against Raja. So the writ was issued against the Zamindar for his arrest, in which a bail of rupees 3 lakhs of the amount was allowed to be taken. In other words, he could be released on the bail of rupees 3 lakhs. A Raja of Cossijurah, that is Zamindar, hearing of this writ of arrest, absconded. Means he ran away from his place to avoid the execution of the writ or to avoid his arrest. The writ of Capias returned to the court unexecuted. Meanwhile, the Supreme Council, after consulting the Advocate General, informed or after consulting the Advocate General, advised that the Supreme Court had no jurisdiction over the Zamindar. Thereupon, the Governor General in Council issued instructions to the Raja, all farmers, and other landholders that they need not pay attention to the process of the Supreme Court unless they were either servant of the company or had accepted the jurisdiction under a contract by their own consent. Hence, the government assured Zamindar that the Supreme Court had no jurisdiction over him. Thus, on the assurance of the government, the Zamindar returned back from exile. Means here the Zamindar he was hiding himself, but after the assurance of the government, the Zamindar he returned back to his town. Another writ was issued by the Supreme Court to attach or to seize Raja's or Zamindar's lands and property to compel him to appear in the Supreme Court. The court sheriff sent his force to make arrest of Zamindar. The sheriff's people arrested the Zamindar and was taken to Calcutta. In the meanwhile, the matter was reported to the Governor General in Council. The Governor General, he was Commander in Chief. So, Governor General directed the armed forces to arrest Sheriff and ordered to release the Zamindar, that is, to release the Raja of Cossijurah. So, latter development or the action taken by the Supreme Court. Kashinath Babu brought action against the Governor General in Council in the Supreme Court. The attorney of the company and the officers who caught hold the sheriff's party or the sheriff and his officers or armed forces. So the attorney put in the prison by the Supreme Court. The court could not proceed against the Governor General because, as per the provision of Regulating Act, the Governor General and member of his council were immune from the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and therefore the court could not proceed against the Governor General and his council. The Governor General and councillors refused to appear before the court as the act was during their official capacity. Thus, the conflict between the council, that is Supreme Council, and the Supreme Court increased. No one was ready to compromise. The Supreme Court inflicted punishment or the Supreme Court took an action against Attorney General, Company's Attorney General, North Nylor. He was Attorney General of the company. He was put in jail and afterwards he died in the jail. Petition to the Parliament on 12th March 1780, the plaintiff Kashinath Babu withdrew his suit against the Governor General and Council and against Raja of Cossijurah. Under these circumstances, in March 1779, a petition signed by all the prominent British inhabitants of Bengal, servants of the company, and zamindars was sent to British Parliament against the excesses of Supreme Court in Bengal. As a result of this, a parliamentary committee was appointed. The committee presented a report on the conflict between the Supreme Court and the Supreme Council. The Parliament therefore passed an Act of Settlement in the year 1781. Thus, the conflicts between the Supreme Court and the Supreme Council reached a climax in this case. the Supreme Court issued orders the sheriff to use force in order to carry out its orders, while the Supreme Council ordered its troops to defend the implementation of its orders. Supreme Court also claimed its jurisdiction over the whole natives, which was opposed by the Supreme Council, and due to this, Cossijurah case is of great historical importance. So with this, I have completed the case of Cossijurah. Thank you.